Previously, in part 1 of this series, I set off from Tinoch to attempt a round of Jura. The forecast was a bit iffy, so my plan was to see how far I could go, camping up when it got too rough to go any further, then continue when conditions allowed. The first night I camped near Easdale, then made my way to Loch Tarbert for my second night under canvas. That evening the wind started to rise and blew all night. It was still blowing strongly when I got up on day 3. However, I was delighted to see the bug-off shelter was still standing, as I was sure it would have been flattened during the hours of darkness. I took a wander to the shore of Loch Tarbert to see the sea conditions. They were rough, so I knew I was not going to head for open sea. The wind was coming from the southeast, so I decided to have a leisurely breakfast to see if conditions would improve a little and allow me to cross to a sheltered shore, but I could try my luck fishing. The boat was safe enough moored in the bay, which is why I love this location. It's sheltered from all wind directions. The wind started to drop as I scoffed breakfast and slurped coffee, while watching a lovely ketch set sail and head out to open sea. And that was good enough for me. So I grabbed my fishing rod and headed into Loch Tarbert, aiming for its sheltered shore. It was still very blustery mid-channel, so I was happy I decided to stay in the shelter of the loch. I watched wind squalls tear across the surface as I traversed the sheltered shore, heading for a quiet bay. I dropped anchor in 30 foot or so of water, then dropped a set of fishing lures. I happily spent an hour catching some small pollock, but I'm certain the fish were not as happy as I was, so decided to call the fishing a day. Besides, the wind was now behaving and I was keen to get underway. I wanted to go to the very end of lovely Loch Tarbert. As I headed deeper into the loch, I watched a dark band of cloud overhead. I presumed it marked the end of the weather front which had brought the winds. And sure enough, as I headed for the bothy at the head of the loch, the sea surface flattened completely. It's normally a very busy bothy, which is popular with the hill walkers, but as there didn't seem to be anyone at home, I decided to land and give it the once over. It's in very good condition and much cleaner than the other bothy. There was still a bit of heat in the house walls, so I checked the diary, and sure enough, some visitors had stayed overnight and left that morning. Having seen enough to satisfy my curiosity, I jumped back into the boat and headed for the very end of Loch Tarbert. To get there involves going up a narrow strip that is more like a river than the sea. It's very shallow, and because of a strong flow, it requires the outboard fully down, so I didn't video going up this section as it required my full concentration. I finally reached the inner basin, which is the end of the loch, so turned around and let the current carry me back with the outboard and tick over. It looked perfect sea trout water, so I also trawled a spinner, but I didn't have any luck. Once back in the main loch, I landed for a leg stretch and to have a look at the raised stone beach and lovely waterfall before heading back to the campsite. Although the weather was not the best this time round, I have been here several times during heat waves with no wind and a clear blue sky. Perhaps now you can see why I love Loch Tarbert so much. It's remote and very scenic, and I had not seen anyone all day except for a ketch that headed to sea in the morning. Once back at camp, I was happy enough just sitting soaking in the atmosphere of this special place. I slurped a few beers, scoffed a few sausages, and was delighted the wind had gone, and was hopeful the following day would allow me to continue around Jura. I went to bed when I felt enough was enough, and day 3 was done. I got up early and had the campsite dismantled and everything packed back in the boat for high tide at 7 a.m. It was a lovely sunny and windless morning, and I was looking forward to going down the Sound of Islay, round its southern tip, and heading back along the eastern coast of Jura. It only took minutes to warm up the outboard and be on my way, crossing the mouth of Loch Tarbert before heading down the tidal Sound of Islay. Now heading north along the east coast of Jura, I took a detour into Craighouse Bay to gawk at the Jura distillery, where my favourite whisky of all time is made. I didn't land there, though preferring to stop for a late breakfast and a leg stretch on the lovely sandy beach of Loch opposite Craighouse. Then it was time to start on my long journey northwards along the east coast of Jura. However, I didn't go far before I landed again to have a look at Ardferno Beach. It was a lovely sunny day, midsummer, and there was not a sign of anyone, although this beach can sometimes be popular with wild campers. The east coast of Jura is not as remote nor as scenic as its western coast. At least that's my opinion. There are signs of human habitation on this side of the island. I took a quick gawk around Tarbert Bay, knowing that it's only a mile walk to lovely and remote Loch Tarbert, which I explored the day before. I was delighted when the wind dropped completely and the sea turned glassy smooth. I notice a large colony of seabirds take to the air and flying around in a noisy flap. I presume some kind of predator was disturbing them and raiding their nests. I could see no sign of it, so perhaps I'm wrong. Then I stopped for lunch in another little sheltered bay at Elan Boody Moor. It's a lovely spot, but unfortunately the ground surrounding the bay is bogland. So no use for camping, which I have often regretted, as there is no place to pitch a tent that I know of in the north-east coast of Jura, which is away from houses. Passing Barn Hill, which is the house George Orwell stayed at while writing 1984, I knew I was now not far from the northern tip of Jura, and of course the famous Corryvreckan Whirlpool. And as it was such a lovely day, I decided to have a look at the Whirlpool, although I confess that at this time of the tide it was rather disappointing. Little more than a few swirls and hydraulic boils. I then enjoyed the cliff views going along the rugged seaward side of Tarbert. Then along the coast of Lunga and the Black Islands. Then the slate island of Belnahua, which looked almost as busy as Blackpool Beach, proving I was back in civilization again. So I headed for home. Another great adventure done. I hope you enjoyed the videos and thanks for watching.